Hello world, this is YouTube artist DHT Sci-Fi Artist, or on DeviantArt DHT Sci-Fi Master, or if anyone knows me on livestream, I'm also known as Battlestar Galactica Man. Well, on this subject and on that name, I would like to actually present to you two books that are actually on the subject I'm very interested in right now. And in recent time, I've actually gained a serious interest in studying extraterrestrial life beyond our atmosphere. And with that one, I've been buying some literature about it. As you know, if you know me as DHT Sci-Fi Master, I love to draw sci-fi art. I love to write stories. In fact, I'm writing a novel and 2 short stories, and I'm planning another novel. Well, on that one, I have 2 books that are on the subject of extraterrestrial life living beyond our atmosphere, and how it affects humanity and how it relates to our culture and destroying and whether they really have an effect on humanity when they come out, if they do make contact with us. The first book we're going to talk about is something called Captured by Aliens: The Search for Life and Truth in a Very Large Universe. And it's by an author named Joe Achenbach. Right here. This is called Captured by Aliens, and this is a very interesting book here. It not only talks about the abduction phenomenon, talks about our culture around the idea of extraterrestrials, but it actually presents some very valid and very deep scientific study and examination of the psychology of our culture, which likes extraterrestrials. And here, we pull out some big names here. One of the big names pulled out here is Carl Sagan. He's referred to as the godfather of extraterrestrial study. He's referred to as that here. He was actually an advocate for the study of life. However, what makes him so remarkably different is that he actually thought that the idea that humanoid life forms and life forms like us that existing all around the galaxy, literally like us, is actually ridiculous. I myself, wondering about and thinking about the Drake equation, has actually calculated, and not seriously, but in my own thoughts, I actually believe that humanoid life only makes 0.75% of all life in the universe, or rather in our galaxy. The rest of it would just be slime mold and bacteria. Another thing that's presented here is that intelligence is in fact a blessing and a curse at the same time, because intelligence allows you to have desires for more, desires for this different and that different, which can lead to wars, conflict, famine, and even die-off. A civilization will become so advanced that it will actually explode out. And will actually ironically implode in itself and destroy and go poof. But back to this book here. This book is actually a very serious study of the problems of space travel and it gives us an idea of the vastness of space here. For example, look at this, the symbol of the Hubble Space Telescope here. This is the Crab Nebula. I'll put up here. It's a Crab Nebula here, taken by the Hubble Space Telescope. Has become an unofficial symbol of NASA's trip into space. And this book actually gets into it, delves well into the science of space travel and the problems of it. And it also delves in some into the culture here. For example, they talk about the X-Files here. They talk about 2 of the actors. And ironically, they're actually opposite of what they believe. We have Gillian Anderson, who plays Scully, who was a rationalist, who was a scientifically minded FBI agent who didn't believe in such supernatural nonsense, such as aliens abducting human beings, chupacabras, Bigfoot, and other supernatural things. But in real life, she actually believes aliens are coming to Earth and that they're already here. Some of them are already here, and they control the government. Traverse to reptilians and greys and Illuminati. This book doesn't say it's ridiculous, it just puts her view out. On the other hand, David Duchovny, who played the skeptic in the show, who played the believer in the show, right here, was in fact the rationalist in real life. He did not believe in the idea that extraterrestrials would travel all the way through space at superluminal speeds just to come over here and mess with rednecks. Right? Some people may think it's ridiculous, but this book doesn't judge anyone. Oh, and it does pull out some big names here. One of the book big names here, as I mentioned before, is Carl Sagan. Right here. He's referred to in this book almost constantly. In fact, I would think in some proxy way he may have endorsed it. So if I could look through here, I find him. He's right here. Carl Sagan is right here. He talks about exobiology here. We're going to go to a simplistic one, where he talks about the exobiology here. It says here that Carl Sagan was an optimist in his view, which means that he liked to believe there was out there, in spite of any scientific need to actually beat him down, to try to smash down any attempt of him to try to convince us to study this idea. And now we talk about SETI right here. He endorsed SETI. Carl Sagan, which I'm constantly referring to here, like this book, actually endorsed SETI, or the Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence. And despite the people's charging that this is a waste of money and time, he believed this was in fact important to humanity, and it is. Because in the end, if we do not get off this planet or find out, we're going to end up just like the other civilizations. We're going to end up probably just like the other civilizations. We're going to implode. We're going to eat up all the resources, become bigger, more bloated, and then suddenly implode and just go poof. And we have another one that's endorsed here is Drake, or so far, the physicist who created Drake equation, which I'm going to simplify it down for y'all. There are millions of stars in this universe, and those stars are, let's say, average of 3 planets. On those million stars, about 20 or 30% of those stars may have life, and only 10% may have a civilization. And only 1% of those civilizations are more advanced. If I'm wrong, correct. This is just a book review, and it's not really a deep scientific analysis. But this book does, in fact, bring out some of the big names here, and it brings out an examination of the scientific knowledge. So, if you look on Amazon.com or anywhere else, get this book here. And also the second one, which I'm not going to delve too much in, but I'm going to tell you a summary of it. This is called Sky Crash here. And I bought this from the thrift store just like I bought this. Another compelling read. It talks about the close encounters of the third and fourth kind, which the first one means you've actually been taken on the ship. The fourth kind is they're giving you some sort of information. or that you have become an adolescent, or you become part of them. This one talks about the abduction and UFO phenomenon here, but this is one skewed towards skeptics. It talks about the changes in culture. We went from for example, the technology went from dials and buttons to touchscreens and holograms. This one also talks about the evolution of aliens. They talked about they went from little green creatures all the way up to greys to the advanced humans. And this book talks about this right here. And question, why they would even want to come to America in the first place? Why they would even want to come here in the first place? And for all place countries come to America. This book doesn't actually say that people are stupid or dumb, but it just presents a skeptic examination of the entire UFO phenomenon. It goes into depth. So, if you can go Amazon.com and find this one here, you can get it. They're both compelling reads. Yeah. So, this is my review of those two books. They're excellent books, and it will actually give you a jump start on the knowledge and how our pop culture and extraterrestrials relate to the actual scientific study of this phenomenon. And those books are just pretty cool. And for someone who likes to draw aliens, I actually have a rational view of it. I have to tell you, my personal view is more rational. Just tonight, I was looking up at the stars at a family friend's house at his party. In between going there playing with the kids, talking to the adults, and going out and drinking. I mean, drinking juice, not alcohol. I looked up at the stars, and I just began to fathom, we could not be the only intelligent creatures that can think about and wonder what we are, where we are, and where we come from, and where we're going, and be the only one in this galaxy of all those stars. Somewhere in those stars has got to be someone like us. The problem is they may have the same difficulty of traveling or communicating with us as we do. So, if you're into studying extraterrestrials seriously, I suggest those books. I suggest research. Thank you very much. And DHT Sci-Fi Master signs off.